Ladies and gentlemen, betrayal reveals truth, not weakness. It strips the mask off people you once called family, friends, or even soulmates. The moment someone turns against you, it doesn't mean you failed. It means you finally saw them for who they really are. It means the illusion is broken, because betrayal has a way of unlocking reality. It's loud, it's sharp, and it's never subtle. But it's not your downfall, it's your awakening. You see, people wear faces. Smiles can lie, loyalty can be faked, and sometimes the ones closest to you are the very ones sharpening the knives behind your back. You wonder how someone you poured into could be so cold. You replay conversations, moments of laughter, even shared pain, and ask yourself how it all could have been false. But that pain isn't weakness. That confusion isn't weakness. That heartbreak is not the sign of your failure. It is the moment of clarity God allowed to expose the truth. You didn't lose them. They lost you, and what you got absence is sometimes your greatest gift. When people leave your life, by choice, by betrayal, or by silence, it may feel like a wound at first. But that emptiness they leave behind is often the space you needed to grow. When someone walks out, it doesn't always mean something went wrong. Sometimes it means something is finally going right, because God doesn't subtract without planning to multiply. And when certain voices go quiet, your spirit starts to hear more clearly. See, presence is powerful, but not every presence is healthy. Not every voice in your life is meant to stay. Some people are noise, not music. They're distractions dressed as companionship. And while you were trying to keep everyone close, God was trying to protect you through distance. He saw what you couldn't. He heard the conversations you weren't in. And he let them drift away, not to punish you, but to prepare you. You didn't lose peace when they left. You found it. The confusion, the tension, the uncertainty. They started to fade when their presence did. That's not a coincidence, that's clarity. Sometimes their absence is where your healing begins. Because when you stop explaining yourself to people who were never listening, you finally start listening to yourself. You start choosing your own voice over their opinions. You start trusting your intuition over their manipulation. And in that space you grow. Growth is loud in silence. It's powerful in solitude. The world may tell you you need a crowd to be important, but elevation is a lonely road. Giants don't grow in groups. They rise when the noise dies down. And when certain people exit, they make room for purpose to enter. You start to dream differently. You start to think deeper. You start to realize that not everyone is meant to sit at your table, not because they're bad people, but because they carry dust you've been called to shake off. Their absence exposes your dependency. Maybe you leaned too hard, maybe you trusted too fast, maybe you believed someone else's approval was your oxygen, but once they're gone, you start breathing on your own again. You start realizing that your power was never in their hands. It was buried beneath your fear of being alone. And now, in their absence, you're uncovering it. You're not empty. You're being refined. You're not abandoned. You're being separated for something greater. The silence you hear now isn't rejection. It's alignment. It's the moment the noise stops long enough for you to hear what God's been saying all along. You don't need everyone to understand. You don't need everyone to stay. Some departures are divine. Some exits are ordered. And some goodbyes are the beginning of your best yes. Forgiveness isn't reunion, it's release. Too many people think that when you forgive, it means you have to let them back in, that you have to sit at the same table again, smile like nothing happened, and pretend the wound isn't still healing. But real forgiveness doesn't always end in reconciliation. Sometimes it ends in distance. Sometimes it ends in silence, and that's not bitterness. That's wisdom. Forgiveness is not about giving them a second chance to hurt you. It's about giving yourself a second chance to breathe, to move, to grow. It's you saying, I won't carry what you did any longer. Because carrying the weight of betrayal, of offense, of broken trust will wear you down from the inside out. And some of the people you're trying to forgive aren't even thinking about what they did. They're sleeping while you're stressing. They've moved on while you're still replaying every word, every lie, every moment. But here's the truth. They don't hold the key to your peace. You do. And forgiveness is how you take it back. Not by excusing the pain, not by erasing the memory, but by saying, you no longer have power over me. You forgive to let it go, not to let them in. People confuse forgiveness with weakness. They think that because you chose peace over revenge, you're soft. But choosing to forgive takes strength. It takes maturity. It takes you looking pain in the face and refusing to let it define you. Because when you hold on to bitterness, it doesn't hurt them. It poisons you. It clouds your judgment. It dims your light. And sometimes the most powerful move you can make is letting go of the story you thought you needed closure for. Closure doesn't come from them. It comes from you. It comes from waking up and realizing you don't need an apology to heal. You don't need answers to move forward. You don't need validation to walk away. Forgiveness is personal. It's quiet. It happens in your heart, not their presence. You forgive not because they earned it, but because you deserve to be free from it. And when you truly forgive, you stop looking back. You stop expecting different from the same. You start understanding that boundaries are holy, that trust, once broken, is not easily rebuilt, and that letting someone go doesn't mean you haven't forgiven them. It means you've finally honored yourself enough not to go through it twice. Forgiveness is a door you open for your own peace, not a welcome mat for those who caused the storm. It doesn't mean the relationship is restored. It means the weight has been removed. It means you've chosen to stop drinking the poison of resentment. You've chosen your future over your frustration. You've chosen to break the cycle, not return to it. You've decided that peace is more valuable than being right, and healing more urgent than revenge what they meant for harm. God is using for your rise. Every plot, every lie, every betrayal that was designed to break you has become the very soil where your strength is growing. The pain they tried to bury you in is now the foundation God is building your future on. They didn't realize that in trying to hurt you, they were actually positioning you. They thought they were closing doors, but God was using those shut doors to redirect you. They thought they were setting traps, but God was training your spirit to walk through fire and not burn. You see, God doesn't waste anything. Not your tears, not your heartbreak, not your darkest moments. He takes what the enemy intended to destroy you and flips it into the testimony that defines you. Every false accusation, every silent treatment, every back turned against you, it all becomes fuel. It becomes fire in your soul to rise with a clarity and purpose you never had before. Sometimes God lets you fall so you can rise with more authority. Sometimes He allows betrayal so you can walk away from what was never meant to go where you're going. They tried to shame you. They tried to break your spirit. They talked behind your back, twisted your words, and made you question your worth. But all of that is being turned into strength. All of that is shaping you into someone who doesn't bend just because the wind blows harder. What they meant for harm is producing endurance, it's building resilience, it's forcing you to trust God in ways you never had to before. Elevation always comes with separation, and often it comes through confrontation. You wouldn't have left certain places if they didn't push you. You wouldn't have seen your worth if they hadn't made you feel so small. You wouldn't have walked into your calling if their betrayal hadn't closed every other option. They thought they were stripping you, but they were actually freeing you from dependency, from approval, from the chains of needing to be understood. God is not intimidated by what they did. He's not surprised by the betrayal. In fact, He used it. He's writing a story that starts in pain but ends in power. They thought you were finished. They thought leaving you behind meant you'd fade. But what they didn't know is that rejection is redirection. That closed doors are divine protection. And that everything meant to harm you is now under God's control, being rearranged to lift you higher than you ever imagined. You may not have chosen this road, but you're walking it with purpose now. Every scar is a story of survival. Every tear is watering your future. And every name they called you is being replaced with the name God always had for you. You are rising, not in spite of the harm, but because of it. Because God never loses control of the script. Even when others try to rewrite your chapter,